Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. This is Chairman Capo Daniel of PRAP, the People's Right Advocative Platform, also the Deputy Vice Chair of APJ. Today, I've come to you on the Thursday, December 12th, with a very special message, especially on the question of referendum, as we are engaging other stakeholders, our population, in our consultative stage. It's very important that I make this statement to our people who are hoping and looking upon our leadership for solution to end this war of shame that is putting our people through a lot of suffering. We have come 80 years fighting a war we did not choose to fight, a war we did not prepare to fight, a war we did not start it. We all know, which is a point we have made and our people have come to understand for the past 2 years, that we cannot beat Cameroon militarily without international support. So far, no country has stepped up to support our military efforts. The few international partners and military companies that have approached us have all backed off almost 4 years ago. We have not had a single country, especially African states, or even personalities in the international community recognize the independence of Ambazonia that was declared by Ayok Tabi. We have recognized this. We have not had any direct support to arm our soldiers. The few military sympathizers within the Nigerian government have not really supported us. They have sold weapons, limited weapons, light arms to our soldiers that could not really make any significant difference or any dent in the Cameroon military present in our territory. And there is no expectation that these situations will change. There is no expectation or hope that any country will step up to recognize the declaration of Siseko Ayok Tabi for our independence, or support our force, or arm our force, or even help to accommodate our leadership in terms of providing us a capital to sit in and function as a people. These are what we face today. It is an issue of surrender or be defeated, or we negotiate and find political settlement of this war through peaceful means. These are the three things that we face. Let not deceive ourselves. It is either surrender, be defeated, or we find a middle ground where we negotiate a political settlement. All the three choices are not a good choice. For those who think that we can still have liberation by force, they will push us to the route that we don't want to, and that will be detrimental to our population and even our identity. Many people have come to recognize this fact. I'm putting this thing to you blankly, because it is very, very critical. The hardliners amongst us have made the case of our hope that the United Nations will invoke the responsibility to protect, so that they can protect our people from repression against the Cameroon government. So far, after 4 years, when this approach was pushed by Joe Ayaba, we have made no success. We have traveled to the Basque region, where I was part of the delegation. We know what they said to us. The independence could not be recognized, but we had a support for our right of self-determination. That was as far as we have gotten so far. So we have negotiated with Cameroon before, and we know their demands. We know their expectations. And we have engaged the international community robustly, from the United States, the British government, even France. We know their positions, and some African countries, including Venezuela, some of the countries who are coming around now to really support the peace plan paper. and South Africa as well. So, but what I want to tell our people, that the prospect of the hardliners who had called for it 4 years ago, the issue of invoking or getting the international community recognizing their responsibility to protect, is as far-fetched as the United Nations promise for preventive diplomacy. They have never done that. The ICC complaint against Paul Biya is a clear example that can indicate to us the possibility for the United Nations to ever invoke this clause. The first report that was made for investigation of Cameroon war crimes in our territory to the ICC was made in 2020, during the period when Chuayaba started to call for the United Nations to invoke the responsibility to protect. The ICC simply took that report, sat on it for 1 year, and came out with a statement from the Information and Investigation Department that says that those report and complain about war crime committed by the Cameroon military or the Cameroon government that link it to Paul Biya or call for the investigation of Paul Biya will be put in archived. Because of what? The Cameroon government is not a signatory to the Rome Statutes, and there is a question of jurisdiction of the ICC or even the ICJ about war crimes committed by the Cameroon government. The Cameroon government, each time any war crime amounts to crimes against humanity, have come up to create an investigation or a prosecution of certain officers and even arrest officers such as the officers of who committed the war crimes in Garbu. These have made it impossible for international community to even investigate. The Human Rights Watch, the Amnesty International have all changed their positions and called for Cameroon to investigate, which they will claim they are investigating. So the prospect for us successfully getting the United Nations to invoke the responsibility to protect is close to zero, given the fact that our direct engagement for the past 2 years to ask Cameroon to abandon its approach to psychological warfare and reprisal attack against our community have succeeded. The Cameroon have made cosmetic changes in response to the call of the Commissioner of the Human Rights in the United Nations to negotiate with our people. All these things makes it impossible for us to envisage a situation where the United Nations will evoke the responsibility to protect clause. Our conduct also have not helped us. According to international researchers, for the past 3 years, attacks against our civilians is primarily being carried out by our own forces. Repression and punishment of our people collectively is largely done by our own call for excessive, unjustifiable lockdowns and policy that targets our people more than it hurts the enemy. So, good luck for those who think that we can have the invocation of that clause. This is what we face. It is either we continue to pursue lost causes that is going to lead us to defeat, we face defeat or surrender, which is two things we cannot accept. That is why we have taken the leadership to pursue a negotiated political settlement. These are the three choices we have before us: political negotiated settlement, defeat, or surrender. So, fellow Amazonians, we must, for the sake of our identity, for the sake of self-preservation, choose this option of the peace plan paper that envisage a referendum. As to the question of referendum, which is being debated within the framework of our consultation, within the various committees, our people must know this. We cannot unilaterally dictate the terms of any referendum which we envisage in the future, because we have not won the war. We, just like we need international support to defeat Cameroon militarily, we will need to negotiate a referendum with Cameroon. Cameroon will have a say. And we can only successfully do so with the support of international partners and international state parties. Cameroon will not give us referendum because we demand referendum. Referendum can only be negotiated when this call for referendum and the peace plan paper is being backed by the international community. And fellow Ambazonians, our ability and our potential to get substantial international support for the peace plan paper for a referendum will also depend on our conduct and the way we act on the ground. If our soldiers continue to escalate, if our civilians still remains the primary focus of our campaign and other groups and actions by our soldiers, it will jeopardize and reduce the propensity for international stakeholders to support our peace plan paper and the possibility of a negotiated settlement. It is very critical. I call on all Ambazonians to ignore any imposition of an unnecessary extra ghost town on Saturday. We have made our point with the military campaign. It is time for us to catch out while we can for the sake of our suffering people. When Emeka Nwachukwu of Nigeria, of the Biafran movement, decided to make a settlement and avoid defeat by the Nigerian military, he was hailed as a hero because he saved the life of his people. Over 2 million Nigerians Biafrans were killed during the 30 months war for Biafra independence. It was due to the suffering of their people that Nyakubu Emeka decided to make peace with the president of Nigeria to stop the suffering of his people and the annihilation of their people if the capital of Biafra would have been overrun by the Nigerian military. We must be sensitive to the death of our people, the possibility of this war, and those who are hardline and those who are pushing for escalation to provoke a response that may push us back to where we were 3 years ago, where we had our villages being burned down and we had reprisals against our civilians. We cannot go down that road. These are the truths that I bring to you. You have known me for over these years. I've served this struggle and this cause selflessly. I've come today to you to appeal that every Ambazonians who love our identity, who love independence, who love our way of life, to support this initiative. Your support matters. And to react on those distractors who have not made any reasonable case or challenge to our proposition, but have using distortion, misinformation, and blackmail. We welcome criticism, and we know we can defeat anybody in a debate because we are on the right path. We are on a reasonable and logical path that any reasonable and logical person will come to the same conclusion. We welcome every platform. We are ready to go to every platform. The chairman of the steering committee, Professor Asongo, have been engaging our population. Please subscribe to the APJ's YouTube channel so that you can be engaged with updates about our diplomatic engagement. We have had huge and tremendous support in quarters we least expect, and will continue to make progress until we secure that negotiation table for our people to have a political support solution. We are working hard to have this threshold of international support and endorsement of the peace plan paper and our call for referendum so that we can be effective in achieving the goal and the vision of the PPP. God bless you all.